So I just want to like introduce this topic first of all because a lot of people think an orgasm is just about getting off, it's just pleasure. Um, well, orgasm is like so much more than just getting off. In fact, I think it's really, really sad that people think, it's just this thing to get off because it's the source of our power and it's like the deepest we can go actually like within ourselves to basically, it's the deepest energy we have. It's the source energy that we're created from. And so many people are, just most people seem kind of to be disconnected from this energy. Like maybe you're experiencing it as a constant release, which is great, but you're releasing your life force energy. And the reason you're constantly wanting to release your life force energy is actually because your body is blocked, your energy in your body is blocked, and you're feeling this tension building up. And it just is the only way that you know to basically get this energy out of your body. Now, there is another way, and that's what I'm here to tell you. And just to introduce this, I actually used to be anorgasmic. I'd never had an orgasm, didn't really know what an orgasm was like, couldn't really imagine it. That was me way back when, and today is me here, and I feel so connected with orgasmic energy all day long, and it doesn't make me, as most people think, a hypersexual or something. Of course, I enjoy sex, I love it, but I'm absolutely in control of it so that I wouldn't do it, for example, in situations where perhaps in the past I might have done it and felt afterwards negative about what had happened. So I'm much more like in mastery of this sexual energy, yet much more have access to it as well. So it's not that I'm repressing it in order to try to be a good person as society tells us to do. I'm really connecting with it, I'm really channeling with it. And so just to look a little bit at like my journey and what exactly happened and how did I go from never having had an orgasm to becoming multi-orgasmic in just actually a few months. So I guess, looking back at the time, right, I had all these different problems in my life, in my health, in my mental health and everything, and I didn't put them all together. I was trying to treat my anxiety, I was trying to treat my back pain, my urinary tract infections, and the one thing that was kind of glaringly in the middle of everything that I was just ignoring was the fact I wasn't having an orgasm. I wasn't really experiencing sexual fulfillment at all. So, I got so frustrated trying to fix all these other things, and finally I was just like, that's it. You know what? I want to have an orgasm because I'm not feeling complete. I'm not feeling as a woman that I'm complete without having an orgasm. This is something that I really, really want to have. So I basically, it was just the universe brought to me at that time the Taoist teachings. That's all I can say is that they landed with me, the Taoist teachings, and I saw them. I realized what it was all about. I realized this is serious stuff. This is a journey. It's not something for me to play around and mess around with. And I was lucky to find in my area some teachers, although at the time it was a little complex because I was having to learn one thing from one, another from another, and so on. But I managed to kind of piece these pieces together through these different teachers and build up a practice which basically got me, first of all, going into my body and actually clearing out these blockages which come from childhood. So blockages, that's anything that takes us away from our original programming and the original alchemizing flow of energy within the body. And these blockages, they leave us in pain, they leave us sick, and they leave us numb. So many people are out there like chasing pleasure. And if you guys follow my timeline, you probably saw that I upset some people this last week through discussion I was having about porn. People felt it was judgmental. I was praising men that didn't use porn. And the fact is, I have to say that, now that I work with these energies and I work on the energy and I'm very in tune with it, something like a partner who used porn or even using a vibrator, because these energies are so subtle. In fact, the way most people have sex and think it's normal would be utterly traumatic for me, because I'm so in tune to these different layers of subtle energies that just really like bring me alive and just allow me to really like fully feel myself for what I am. So I understand that most people think that sex is either you got a, godmother there like trying to force you to never feel sexual energy, you've got on the other hand, or you've got to go full out polyamory and watch loads of porn and do all these different kinks and so on to be, you know, sexually liberated. Most people think you kind of have one or two options. In reality, I mean, I have just found this place in the middle, which is completely authentic to me. But if it wasn't for the Tao practices showing me how to absolutely get in touch with my sexual energy in what I would just describe as the most pure-hearted and innocent way of really like connecting in there, if it wasn't for that, I would just not be, you know, I would not be doing any of this. So, you know, as I sat down and I started taking these months and putting in the time and the effort, and I was putting in a lot of time every day on these practices to unblock my energy, I started noticing like just the feeling of my body coming alive. That's all I can really like describe, you know. I started feeling, first of all, my body coming alive and maybe the energies I didn't feel so in control of. But as I started growing further and further through the practices, I then started to really feel these energies like becoming just different forms that I could use then within my body. And the source of this energy, of course, the source of this energy is your perineum. And the one thing you need to do if you want to be able to connect with this energy and move this energy up your body is to unblock and to take out those energies that have become dense and are stopping the movement of that energy. So I'm sure you guys have heard me talking about healing sounds and smiling to your inner organs and so on. And this is actually the path, the absolutely essential path that we need to start first taking when we want to basically be able to get in touch with this life force energy that's the most like purest, beautiful, like absolute authentic expression of life and of ourselves as living beings. Because if we're not removing these blockages, we're not able to access this energy, we're kind of losing out. And for people that may be like practicing semen retention or trying to block their sexual energy and repress their sexual energy in order to be good people, you're still not accessing that sexual energy. You're still not accessing the benefits in any kind of a meaningful way if you're not able to actually draw this energy up into your body, you know. Now, for me, I suppose what started to happen at the point when I started to feel, I would say, like started to feel my vagina coming to life, becoming sensitive, and I started to feel the vibrations within my body, which then started to build up into orgasms. Certainly there was the practices I was doing, there was the meditations, there was clearing the energy out of my body and my vagina and so on. But specifically there was kind of like shift in consciousness going on, and my shift in consciousness was very much around the word no and about learning to really like fully honor my body and honor what my body as the vehicle of my soul was really wanting. Because all the time that I'd kind of been trying to push, you know, stimulation on myself, hoping to get something, in reality all I was doing was shutting myself down, numbing myself down. It doesn't matter if you're talking about drinking coffee, if you're talking about eating chocolate, something I'm guilty of, loving dark chocolate, you know, but it can all become a habit. You know, whether you're talking about porn, vibrators, sex with someone that you're not soul to soul aligned with, you know, it's all the same thing, because when we're overstimulating, we stop actually feeling, and it's like the energy just shutting down. So what I learned to do was basically, I could look at it on two different phases. So one of them is, I suppose, opening up the body using actually just techniques as simple as breathing to start opening up the body and actually start to create what I would call like a energy orgasm within the body. So an energy orgasm is like a vibration of energy. And I'm just curious, has anybody here experienced energy orgasm? Maybe give me like a 5 in the chat if you did experience this energy orgasm. I'm just curious who knows what I'm talking about, the difference between different types of orgasms. So if you don't know about the different types of orgasm, I would love to share with you my ebook about orgasms. So if you don't have my ebook about orgasms, please just drop let's say drop a 6 in the chat, or write ebook or something, and we will send you over this ebook about orgasms. So the first thing I guess that I was just coming to my mind is when I actually learned how to bring myself into an orgasmic state just through my breath. Now, funny enough, I've never been really into masturbation. I've tried it. I do some self-pleasuring, more for what I think of as the therapeutic reason than anything else. I've always been more into like the connection thing and feeling arousal and wanting connection, as I'm doing that. But yeah, so if we think of orgasm as an energy opposed to a single event, and that the orgasmic energy is coming from the perineum, from a point that we call the yin, and essentially most people are tensing down into their pelvis enough that that energy doesn't really go anywhere. Maybe you're finding you're having premature ejaculation. It may be you're needing to ejaculate a lot. In some circumstances, it can be erectile dysfunction. It can also be in women that we're not getting orgasms, we're not feeling pleasure, and so on. These are all signs of the fact that we have been programmed to tense our pelvises and stop this energy from moving. Now, I know that sounds really simple. And what I'm going to show you, I want to just let you know that I did practice for a bunch of months before I actually started getting to this, getting to this point. It's a little bit, wow, yeah, I didn't actually realize before doing this that I was going to start feeling shy. And I'm kind of looking at that, and I'm quite dark, but then I've got here. Just want to make sure that you guys can see me properly, actually. That's all. Oh, yeah, okay. Is that me? Can you guys see me? Sorry. Okay. And I want to invite you to join me in this, what I'm going to be doing now. Okay, so I want to invite you to join me into this meditation where we're going to be basically using our breath to start to open up our bodies, right? Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start allowing our thoracic diaphragm to move up and down so that we actually breathe with only the belly moving, but we're not forcing the belly in and out, okay? What we're doing is just allowing the thoracic diaphragm to move and to open up your body. So I invite you to inhale and just feel your belly expand. So you're really actually not using your brain at all, but you're just allowing. You're allowing your breath to rise and fall. And as you're doing this, you're exhaling out any tension in your body. And as you're doing this, use your intention to just allow your body to relax. And allow the energy to move. And one of the things I love about this kind of an orgasmic state is it's very calming, and yet it's energizing at the same time. So it's not this feeling that we get when we actually can have the kind of orgasm where we're losing and releasing the energy, which might be something like a clitoral orgasm, or it might be like a ejaculatory orgasm, where maybe we're getting rid for a little while of some excess energy in the body, but we're not really actually resolving the overall tension in the body that may be causing dis-ease and unease and so on and so forth. So I just want to check, could that be seen okay? Do you need a repeat where it's like coming up a bit better? Can you give me a 4 in the chat if you did see? Yeah, if it did work, if you could see what was going on. Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. It's hard to see because when I'm looking here, it's actually, the screen is quite dark and I could see all your names on it. So yeah, okay. So this was like one beautiful experience. Just bear in mind, if you didn't get it today, don't worry, because I do generally work with people for about 10 weeks on this. Before people often start like getting results. Sometimes they can get them after 6 or 7 weeks, but it's often after like 10 plus weeks that we really start feeling the vibrations moving within the body. And if you're watching here and you have not you do not know how to if you're interested to work with this energy, okay, you want to know how to do it, do let me know, so you can reach out in a DM, or you can just drop like into the chat more info, and so that we can basically be able to share a bit more information about how you can actually get on the path of starting to learn how to do this. Now that was like one technique where I'm literally using the thoracic diaphragm and the breathing just to open up my body and move the energy. So it's also possible to consciously like move the energy up the spine. So for that, I'm going into like a more straight position, which is much easier. When you're using this opening up the body technique, it helps to lie back and relax. But to consciously move the energy, sitting up straight really helps. Now, before doing this, I do recommend like you need to practice inner alchemy for at least like 5 or 6 weeks to open your body up enough to try to move the energy. Now, I don't recommend trying to move the energy, or for example masturbating and trying to move the energy without a certain amount of practice of inner alchemy. It's really important, and you also need to have guidance to make sure that you're doing the exercises correctly. So now I want to just demonstrate about what I'm going to do is move energy up the spine and into my brain. Now each time you do this, well, something different happens. You don't know like what's going to happen or not. Yeah, let's just experience this and see what happens. So this is all based on the principle of wherever your attention goes, the energy flows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather up this energy. Again, bear in mind, I've been practicing this for years. And the energy is like a real thing. So I'm gathering it up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it into my sacrum and into my spine. So I've worked a lot on opening up the channel up the spine. So I noticed that today when I bring that energy into my sacrum, it just is sucking up my spine, and I'm feeling it coming all the way up to the back of the neck. So maybe on different days, if I'm feeling tense about something, I've got emotional things going on or whatever, it might get blocked somewhere. This is why we need to know how to clear the blockages as well, because it's really powerful volatile energy, and if it gets blocked somewhere, it can cause physical symptoms, mental symptoms, and other things as well. So what I'm doing is I'm just pumping a little bit of energy and bringing it up into my brain, and I can actually feel myself getting a little bit lightheaded as I'm doing this. And by the way, I'm not actually squeezing my perineum, if you're wondering. I'm just literally using my intention to bring the energy into the coccyx and up. And I suppose when the energy gets past my sacrum and as it moves up the spine is like when the vibration is starting to happen. Okay, so now I feel an amount that's in my brain. So what I'm doing is I'm now swirling and moving the energy around inside of my brain. So that was a brain-gasm. Really cool. So I'm feeling the vibration at the back of my neck and up here in my head. And this is the most like powerful energy that I've got actually coming up into my brain, where I can start to then use this energy to basically be able to rejuvenate my brain. So we call it bringing the jing up to feed the brain. And I feel like my vision's a little bit different. I feel a bit like I had something of it making me a bit high or whatever. I can feel it all in the brain, which is really nice, but actually it's not a good idea to leave that in the brain, because it's a bit like, you know, taking drugs or whatever. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bring that energy here into my third eye. So I'm just tapping and I'm focusing into my third eye. And what I'm now going to do is I'll see what happens when I start feeding this into my lungs. So it's really important to feel this energy coming down, and you can always just help it, just guide it down. So bringing it down into my lungs, I'm then going to bring it down into the spleen and the liver. So I'm doing both at the same time, but as I said, I've practiced this a lot. So, okay, I feel the spleen wants it more, so let me feed it. And I'll take it on the right, over onto the right, over into my liver as well. Oh, that's really interesting. So I'm getting quite intense contractions there in my liver, actually, which I would say are quite similar to the contractions women get when they have G-spot orgasms. And of course, the G-spot is actually connected there into the liver. So that's interesting to experience that. And now I'm just feeling both of the organs just gently vibrating. Filling up with life force. And then I'm going to put my hands backwards onto my kidneys. And smiling into my kidneys. So I'm really feeling my kidneys now filling with this amazing, incredible life force energy. Like, it's so nice to have that energy going there into my kidneys. So, and this is really like how you refine and strengthen the energy in your whole body by actually putting it into your kidneys, taking your sexual energy, recycling it, and putting it into your kidneys. And then lastly, just coming back into the belly, which is the place to store the energy. I'm just going to place my hands over my belly and just feel, and just place that energy there into my belly, into my stomach. And it's actually possible even to have the abdominal, I call them the Dantian orgasms. So just to end this practice, something I've really been working on recently, it's just opening my whole body and my whole heart to the energy of love. And it's gorgeous to do that in this red dress, actually. So I'm just checking into my heart, smiling into my heart, and just allowing all this orgasmic energy to transform into pure love energy, go through my being, go through my cells. You know, so you can imagine I'm doing this just only with my own mind, my own intention, but even, for example, if I was having a crystal assisting me with this, it would be an incredibly powerful thing. When you're doing this kind of an energy work, you know, just things, I'm just going to say overstimulating stuff, you know, I'm talking about everything from coffee to porn to vibrators to sex that's not really in alignment, you know, with my soul. So, you know, for me, that's all about deep connection with my beloved and slowness and just really the connection into the energy and the fact that at every point I'm getting a yes from my body. And in fact, when I went through the process of going from being anorgasmic to multi-orgasmic, that learning to say no and learning to really get a yes, a really meaningful 100% yes from my body, it was so important. And it's so important for everyone that we really start listening to what our body wants and tuning into our body just as much as we do so with our partner as well, because if we're not tuned into our own body, how can we then be tuned in to the body of the partner? So I'd like to just, sorry, I'm having to check the messages here on this other phone, and I'd like to invite any questions here. More info. Yeah, so if you want to learn and do these practices, I want to invite either send me a DM or drop a message in the chat, because I've got a group coming up soon, and I've got a few spaces left both for women and men. So if you've been here, you're feeling inspired, you're feeling like you want to really do this, let me know and let's have a chat. So, sending lots of love and light and orgasmic energy out into the world.